Hi everyone, it's Linda here. So, I want to show you all how I've been budgeting for the past 10 plus years. And I've never seen anyone budget quite like this. And a couple friends have been asking me throughout the years how I budget, so I thought I'd share with you all. Now, a little bit about me. I have been working in tech for the past 10 years, mostly in data analytics, and I currently live alone and I love Excel. So that might explain a little bit to the method to this madness in a little bit. And hopefully, this will help at least some of you. It might not be for everyone, but this has been what has worked for me, and hopefully, you find some tips out of it. Now, what I'm showing right now is a very simplified view of my actual budget method. And so you can actually download this at my website, lindafinance.com, and it's completely free. You don't need to sign up any emails or anything. It's basically just a Google Sheet that you can copy to your own computer. So let's dive right into what the different sections of this template is. And then we're gonna actually go into my actual budget with real numbers, and I could show you live of how I would go about budgeting, what I actually do on the times that I budget every other week. So the very first section, the budget section on the top left. So this area, there's a couple color coding going on. You'll see that this light blue is only for some lines, and this is supposed to represent anything that is needed in actual cash or just checking accounts to be paid, things that can't be charged on a credit card. Now, I, like a lot of many other Americans, do use a credit card. I do pay it off every month, but I do consider it as like a small, mini, no interest loan that lasts for 30 days. And because I do this, I find that it's easier for me to separate out my finances between what can be charged through my checking account and what can be charged through credit cards. And so that just makes it easier to see what's coming in and out, and it's more accurate for me. So things like the actual credit card bill, the mortgage, the electric bill, those can't be charged on a credit card. So I group them together and highlight them. And below that, you'll see below that darker black line is things like variable expenses, groceries, food, gas, entertainment, and clothes. Things like this can be changed much more easily than other expenses every month. And so I tend to group them in a whole separate section because those usually are not the same throughout the year. And so those are different from like the more reoccurring expenses I have on top. And then in the bottom here, I like to list out all my yearly renewals, monthly subscriptions. I have a little bit more color coding here. The way I do it is anything that is an active subscription that I'd like to keep, I highlight yellow just to keep in mind that I have something active. Anything that I need to cancel, I highlight either dark orange or red. So that will remind me and call out that I definitely need to cancel that before the subscription renewal date. So I have those dates there just to keep me on top of things more. And you'll see along the right, kind of a line there, I have a sum of my subscriptions and I average it out per month to, like, for example, this $33.99. I bring it up to this monthly subscription line up here. So there's a few nuances like that. But the great thing about this template, since it's like an Excel file, you can definitely just customize it however you like. These things in the template are just suggestions for you, and you can fill it in how best fits your needs. Moving on to the right, so we have the amounts to save section. This area is everything I should be making sure I have in a checking or cash account within the upcoming month. So within the next few weeks, I should start planning for having that money available to be able to pay off my bills, pay off the accounts that are need like cash accounts. So that's for the upcoming month. Now, needed in checking, as you can see, it's the same blue color, so it adds up everything that's needed in cash. This is what is needed in cash right now, so I just definitely need to make sure my account in my checking account has more money than this number. Below that is the owe money section, so this is like my debt section. Currently have my mortgage in there, credit card balance. Sometimes I like to put like, owe a friend $20 and I'll put it in there as a reminder. You could also put in your car loan balances there, so you can see it right up front. And then to me is an area where I have maybe money incoming from returns, maybe keeping track of any hard cash like dollar bills. That's usually an estimate that I have like in my wallet. And also, this is kind of new. I added in like airline points, hotel points, and tried to do an estimate of how much value they have in terms of dollars. So it just gives me in one view like what I have available, make sure that I can use all my accounts as needed. And finally, the last section is my current accounts. So what balances I have in my current accounts. So I have checking, savings, and immediate investments. I usually don't track my retirement investments much right now, so I've just been putting anything that's more like liquid, things that can be changed into cash pretty fast, so I have a kind of a whole view of what's available. All right, so now let's finally get into my actual finances. It's gonna, just to warn you guys, it's gonna be a little bit messy with a bunch of notes, but I will try to make sense of all of it. Okay, so here we are in a new view, and on the right, you can see this is my actual budget tool, my actual finances that I'll show you. And as you can see, it is quite a mess, so I'm gonna try my best to walk you through different parts of it. But you can also point out the different sections we went through a minute ago. And you'll also see something different on the left. It's actually Mint.com. So I do use Mint.com with my budgeting tools because, as you could see, I do have quite a bit of accounts, especially credit cards, and I find that it's really easy to see the latest balances without having to log into all these different bank websites, and they're able to link it and see it right away. And so I like to transfer what is current into my actual spreadsheet. And so first thing I do when I have these open side by side, usually I scroll to the right to make my accounts current. And so I have things with my checking, savings, investments here. And so I make sure those are current. And I actually already updated a lot of these numbers before this recording. So these are actually all matching already, these numbers. Some things I'd like to point out is that starting from the top, I usually stick with a 2 bank account system. I use one of them as kind of my bill pay account and the other kind of like a savings account. LMCU is great because they actually give you 3% interest up to $15,000, so I tend to use that for my emergency savings. And Capital One, I usually try to have a buffer of $1,000 above what I need in cash, and I try not to go any more above that because the interest rate is pretty much nothing, and there's no benefit in having more money in there than needed. And of course, my savings accounts, I don't really use them much. I just have them open so I could have the checking accounts open. Also, the BOA, Bank of America, it's my oldest account. And pro tip, you definitely don't want to close your oldest account as long as you're not being charged any fees for it. So keep it open as long as you can. And I just have the minimum allowed in those accounts, which is $300 each, just so I don't get charged any fees. And then we have my immediate investments. So I update these three. And then I also update my owing money area, which I have linked in Mint as well, like my current mortgage, my credit card balance. And so I just usually do the sum of all my credit cards. Here it's 1,750 and 60 cents. So I just transfer that over. And so once I have these sections updated, it's just here and here, and these are automatically calculated at the top. They're just formulas. I scroll to the left and you'll see that a lot of times from my past budgeting sessions, I have these in progress tabs. So you probably know that when you go to pay a bill, it's usually not instantaneous, and it could even take a couple days for it to process and actually take out of your bank account. So this keeps me on top of things. This makes sure that none of my accounts are being overdrafted. I just make sure I am expecting to have that amount deducted from either my credit cards or my other bank accounts pretty soon. So in progress means there's a transaction waiting to happen. I already started a transaction with that. And sometimes I'll have automated payments and I'll put in progress where necessary as well. And so what I'd like to do after that first step of making the accounts at the right balance on my spreadsheet is I go here and check my in progress tabs to see if they've already been deducted from my account. So I go into Mint and I look at the transactions and see if those have already been posted. And I actually already did this, and I did find that the gym was already posted. So what I like to do is put paid. And so that will cancel it out. It will clear it out and update the total on amount saved and need in checking. So I also get rid of the tab and delete that out. Now I checked for the internet bill. It looks like it's still pending. And when it's in pending progress, I usually just keep it in progress. So I'm not going to touch that one. And the next thing I do after checking that transactions went through is I look over my budget and see what's going to be due in the coming weeks, maybe the coming month. And so one of the first places I start is actually back at Mint. I go to the bills section. So let's go to the bills section in Mint here. So here we could see there's some bills that are due, like a credit card bill actually popped up. And it looks like I have a bill for $183.43 in my credit cards. So that's just one account. And if because of me and I have a bunch of credit cards open, sometimes multiple accounts will show a bill and I will just add them all up. I usually just add them kind of one by one in this cell beside the credit bill, and so I can keep track of them. So I will put 183 here, 43, and that's kind of how I update those accounts. And I actually did check this before, and I already put in a payment for this 183.43. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna put in an in progress tab since I just put in that bill payment request today, and it's probably gonna be processed sometime tomorrow. So I'm gonna put an in progress tab there. This also helps me keep track of like what I already paid and what I didn't. I like to keep tabs on that as well. And also, my mortgage is coming up and due, and I already put in a bill pay payment request for that, so I'll put in progress for that as well. And so this area, I like to use, I gave myself a bunch of white space all around so I could just put in random notes. I have notes and comments within the cell sometimes to keep track of my spending. It's all very flexible. And so after I look at what's due, maybe update some things that's coming up, I like to kind of look at my whole sheet. I'm pretty much done with everything I do in Mint, so I like to kind of get a bird's eye view and I expand the whole spreadsheet to fill my entire screen so I could see what's upcoming. Maybe I could start planning for things that I want in the upcoming month or upcoming year and start budgeting for that. And I left a lot of white space in here where on your own template, your own version of this, you can put in different things to track and put it kind of like as a dashboard, and you would have little widgets around and you could track really anything you want. So one example that I wanted to show you guys is actually my credit card tracking. So I'm definitely very much in the credit card points, a little bit obsession there. I love collecting points and researching travel and all things. And I also used to work in the travel industry. So it's something that I like to keep track of. If you guys want to see a video of how I manage all my credit cards and some tips or tricks, I'm happy to do a video on that as well. But this is just an example of something custom that you could just add in and track in the white space. So that's one of the examples I have on here. And I have a few other things. I think that this might be useful for you. If whatever you want to add, it will give a great place just to have a bird's eye view of everything. So that's pretty much how I budget. I also just wanted to point out one final thing. You probably might be scared looking at my subscriptions area. It's pretty filled up, but don't be alarmed. It's mostly closed stuff. I think some of these I go through and reopen them if there's a free trial. You can see in the notes there's like waived for 1 year, free trials, and so I just like to keep track of them here. You'll also notice one other thing that I use in my own spreadsheet is I put the letter or character A in front of a lot of the numbers. And this is just something that's worked for me to kind of be able to see what goals I want to accomplish, or maybe what's upcoming to be paid in the coming months, but it's not necessarily I need to have that money right away. So for instance, like House Fix, I don't know when I'm gonna actually start that project, but I like to have it in my view somehow without it like actually adding to the total. So that's kind of how I do it. The character A in front of the numbers just kind of cancels out the things like it cancels out the total. So things like my facial 3-month thing, I used to get facials every month. I'm thinking maybe I want to start saving a little bit more money, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna renew my facial every month, for instance. So things like that. As you can see, it's really what you want to do with your finances. It's been very flexible. I like using it with Mint. There's a host of other apps out there that can track spending as well. But this has been working for me, and I've always been going back to this method, kind of this structure, for the past decade. And so I hope this might help some of you out there. Definitely am excited to share this finance journey with more people. And I'm not perfect, and there's a lot of things I'm definitely working on. But if you've made it this far, I just want to say thank you for watching.